And this morning's topic is about the brain. Now, each one of us here has around 100 billion cells in your brain. That's a lot of numbers. And our brain is so powerful, and this is the one thing that separates us from all the other animals, because we can think, we can be creative, and there's just a lot of things that we can do. We can talk, can sing. Those things the animals can do, but we are given a powerful brain to do that. Now, a couple of years ago, they tried to use the most powerful computers on Earth to compete with the brain. They just wanted to compare 1%, just 1% of the brain function versus the most powerful computer at the time. It was Japan's K computer. Right now, I think it's in number 4. But during the time when they did the experiment, it was one of the best computers on Earth. And the experiment was to run for just 1 second. That's it. 1 second of competition between 1% of the brain and the most powerful computer. And just to give you a clearer picture of how powerful that computer is, you can see it's not like our computers here. They're small computers. This one is like a whole 1 floor of a building. And our regular computers are around, this computer is around 250,000 times more powerful than the regular PC. So if you have 250,000 computers, that's still no match for this computer. That's a supercomputer. Now, what do you think happened? They tried to mimic the brain for just 1 second and just 1% of the brain function. Who do you think won? The brain or the Japan's K computer? Wow, your people are smart. They concluded, yeah, the supercomputer failed. They concluded that during the time they did it, they said, we need a computer that is still 100,000 times faster, 100,000 times more powerful, just to compete with 1% of the brain. You see, inside your heads is the most powerful thing on Earth. But even if it is one of the most powerful computers here on Earth, it has a weakness. You see, when we are born, we are given protective mechanisms. We have reflexes. We may have automatic systems in our brain that lets you breathe, controls the heart, controls your other systems. But apart from that, there is a part of the brain that has to go on a certain time to develop. And so some doctors, some scientists would like to tell that babies are like a blank sheet of paper. Well, you are given some parts of the brain that can function without learning, but there is a vast area in the brain that has to develop, and that is like a blank sheet of paper at the start. And what's written there will be something that the baby will have to build on until he grows into an adult. Now, one of these areas is called reality testing. Now, as adults, when we look into like this child, when you look into the television, when you see, as adults, when you see gunfighting, when you see somebody killing somebody, do you jump at the television and say, no, don't kill him? Do you do that? Do you just stop the television? No, don't do it. No, why? Why don't you jump in front of your television and try to stop that person? Why? Why don't you do that? Because you know it's not real. You know that it took a lot of money and a lot of actors and cameramen to do these things, and you know that they made it up. They set it up, and it's not real. Because as an adult, you have a developed reality testing. Now, these children do not have that yet. They're thinking differently. You see, when they see somebody getting killed, they're processing it differently as we are. And then they try to think, oh, somebody's getting killed. And it's like nobody's doing anything for that person, and it appears that it's just okay for them. So you have to mind that children have a different reality testing. Now, a couple of nights ago, we've been talking about health. And earlier this morning, we have heard that when you're watching TV, it's like more of the stuff that you see are the commercials rather than the main program. And the American Academy of Pediatrics have found out that exposure to television, food commercials, enhance the viewers, that's the children, preferences for branded foods. On average, kids wanted more high-carb, high-fat foods after watching food commercials. So these children are also being affected differently when they see these food commercials in the television. It's like they automatically wanted to have that food. And they don't decide, is this something that's healthy? Is it something that has something good in it? They don't. When they see that this is what the television wants them to buy or eat, they just want to go with it. And so the food companies, they hire a lot of great doctors and psychologists. They wanted to study the children's brain and how they can make money out of it. So they've seen that, well, adults have, they're thinking more maturely, they have a better reality testing. Why not target those who are still young? You see, if they target the children, they're gonna get brand loyalty. The children, they've seen this particular brand and they're gonna grow up with that brand. And so at an early age, they expose children to certain brands so that these children will tell their moms what to buy. Why? Because they know that commercials has this. It's called pester power. You know that? And you go to the grocery and your children just want to buy all these things, and they just cry, and they'll never let you go out of the grocery without it. You see? That's the power of their commercials. And then they just cry, and you'll be in a difficult situation in a grocery if you don't give in to what they want. And so, in this point, the food industries would win over you by taking control of your children. And then when you get home, you'll be surprised. Why is my children not eating vegetables, or they don't like eating vegetables? Well, they've been. Have you seen the commercials for vegetables? Have you? The only vegetables that are seen in commercials are the one between those buns, right? Between the meat and the bun. That's the only vegetables you see in the commercials. And so you ask yourself why these children would not like to eat the healthy stuff. They've been educated by the television in your home. And so this child, as early as his age, is on his way to heart disease. He's been trained from the very start to eat this kind of foods. And if you've been here the previous nights, you have known that the heart disease actually starts in childhood. That's the reality. And then just last year, the United Nations has found out that the Philippines has two problems. One would be malnutrition. That's a long-term problem here in the Philippines. But they've now seen that obesity in the Philippines is rising. Just a few more points and we're on the top 15. And so we're not in those, we do not belong to those countries that are really malnourished, because we have higher rates of obesity right now. And unfortunately, if you want to control your children's behavior by shutting off the TV, you have another problem. Because beyond the television, when they go outside your home, they will still be exposed to these food industry's ads. You see, where is that? You just pass by this way from the bridge, you can see there a big billboard, and I'm not gonna mention what brand it is. It's something like this. So here's one of our ads. It says, you have about 10,000 taste buds. Use them all. You see? They've got the best ads. And so when your children go to school, you don't really find stores around their school that are promoting good stuff. You're all going to see all the same stuff in the television. And so you just can't take hold of your children just by putting off the television. What you can do is to train them at home to eat the right kind of food, aside from turning off the television, so that when they go out of your home, they will be looking for the good stuff, not what their classmates are eating. Because if you don't train them, somebody will. And that somebody has millions of pesos in their pockets just to get your child. They have everything in the television, in the billboards, and what do you have against them? You see? You're up against a giant. And food preferences are also quote-unquote hereditary, because if the parents love this stuff, and then of course the children will also learn to love this stuff, and when the parents get the heart disease, they too get the heart disease, not because of their genes, but because of the food preferences passed to them. Now, don't allow the food industry to train your children what to eat. Your children's health is none of their business. Now, I'm just going to share to you more about this reality testing. I've told you about how children react differently to what they see in the television. But you see, yeah, right, just like that, he's not reacting. Somebody's getting killed. Okay, you're all familiar with this one. I'm not singling out this particular movie, but it just stands above all the rest, and it has probably become the top animated film of all time. And children everywhere just want this, and probably everybody else has watched it. And so we think that this kind of programs are wholesome. You see, they promote sisterly love, something like that. But you know, what is wrong with this television, with these films? If you've seen reviews, or you have actually seen the movie, this guy over here, the Duke, is the one that found out that the main character in the film was using sorcery. He said he was the one who found out that the princess was using sorcery, and in the film he was being projected as somebody who is an antagonist. You see, he's the one who made the right point, but he is kind of antagonist in the story. So this film teaches children that sorcery, witchcraft, and the powers of darkness can be possessed by good people. The main character, I'm not going to tell her name. And what else? According to the same study, it shows that TV overstimulate and permanently, you see the word they use, permanently rewire the developing brain of the child. You see, these films, they just go boom, boom, boom here. It's all exciting. You know, all the explosions and all the excitement are in the films. They call it unrealistically fast-paced visual images of most TV programming may alter the normal brain development of a child. And these are science, these are not opinions, these are studies done on children. And so when they go to school, there's no just boom, boom. They just stare at the teacher and, oh, it's boring. And then they don't want to just sit there and listen. They want to see explosions. They want to see colors. And so they've seen problems with attention deficit in these children. because they've been so used to the fast-paced TV programming, the bright colors and all the explosions and all the sounds. Without such stimulation, these children who are now in their schools, they just don't want to learn. It's just boring for them. And so we tend to ask, why is my child not doing good in school? Or why is it that he can't just sit there still and listen to his teacher for just 30 minutes? After 5 minutes, he's just running around doing something else because it's too boring for them. And worse, it gives them difficulty in reconciling Bible truths with what they see on television. Now, there is a big gap between Bible truths and what the television is telling us today. Their principles are just opposite. And the children are being exposed to more of this television, and when they go to Bible seminars like this, they get confused. They've been watching movies and they say, I think Noah's a crazy guy if they've watched that film. And then they come here and they have this problem reconciling. The teacher up front is telling that Noah's this guy, a faithful man, but I've learned that this and this. So they have a problem with that because the television has been there in the first place. It educated them first before they came across the Bible. You have a powerful brain, but if you give it junk, not just junk foods, you give it junk stuff to see and hear, it will deteriorate. Because I've told you, it's like a blank sheet of paper at the start. You can keep your brain healthy by doing these things. These are the currently scientifically proven ways to keep your brain healthy. You have to use it actively. Television is not active, it's passive. You're watching it. You have to use your brain doing problem solvings. Yeah, I know you hate math. Calculations, you have to do that. If you want to preserve the function of your brain up to your later years, you have to do calculations mentally. And memorization. Encourage your children to memorize Bible verses. Memorization will help them preserve their brain function up to their later years. And more recently, it's now proven that staying fit will keep your brain from shrinking. So enough sleep, proper food, and physical activity. Basically, don't give your brain junk because it will turn to junk if you give it junk. Our brain is trainable. Proverbs 22:6 says, train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. So how you train your child when he is young will be more or less what he will become in the future. So I hope you've been blessed with this morning's health lecture. Thank you, and tomorrow or this afternoon, I'll see you again. Thank you.